a snow day here at my channel because it's snowing outside. It's cold, and I'm going to do a podcast for you guys. It's been a couple of days, so I'm sorry. It's just I had a lot of things to do. Uh, Today, we're doing a 1991 film, the original Point Break, with Keanu Reeves and the late Patrick Swayze. It's about 2 hours long, but with end credits, so let's get started. I'm doing it early because I got to shovel snow later, so might as well. I haven't seen this movie in years, so I might not remember everything about it. Largo Entertainment, I don't think that exists anymore. I never heard of it. Catherine Bigelow directed this. Yes, a woman directed this action movie. That's why it's better than the remake. Keanu Reeves and the late Patrick Swayze, may he rest in peace. Cancer got him. Point Break. Surfing is something I never would try because the ocean's not my friend. Gary Busey is in this. This is clean shaven Keanu. Laurie Petty, yeah, from Free Willy and from Tank Girl, even though that movie was weird. John C. McGinley, we have a lot of these actors are still around, except for Patrick Swayze. He's the one that's completely gone. James LaGrosse, because this was 35 years ago. John Philbin, Bochis, Christopher, I don't know who that is. This is Keanu before The Matrix and Speed. Like, oh, he can actually be a cool guy with a gun. They didn't know that. They thought he could just do goofy comedies like Bill and Ted. Mark Isham did the music. And once again, a movie that was not manufactured. I know I'm going to keep saying that because films nowadays look too digital. They don't even look like films anymore. They look like a cutscene. James Cameron produced this movie. That's a coincidence. I did not know he produced this because again, him and Catherine Bigelow were married. I had no idea. He didn't direct this though, because I just did Terminator a few days ago, and he directed that. Here he's producer because it looks like a Cameron production, except not as digital because he was doing Terminator 2. I thought that was Halle Berry. It's not her. Peter Abrams, yeah, not J.J. Abrams, produced it as well. Actually, that's the biggest coincidence in the world that James Cameron produced this movie. And there's correct directed by Catherine Bigelow, who's still directing even though she's really old now. There's John C. McGinley. Some people don't like this movie. They say it's goofy. I'm like, I think it's good because it's the original and it's well done and it's R-rated. It's not a kids movie. It has a sense of humor, but that's a good thing because sometimes an action movie you need to bring some levity from such a dangerous situation. It's a bank robbery, and that's very, very serious. I forgot he produced this movie. I was like, James Cameron produced a movie before T2 and before True Lies. And this is a much better movie than Car 54, Where Are You? That's a horrible movie. John McGinley is no Francis Muldoon. Looks nothing like, Fred Gwynn. Mm-hmm. Yep, that's me. And Keanu was still a great shadow. Some people say he can't act, but I disagree. In this and Speed and even in the first Matrix, he does fine. Sometimes he's gonna suck. I mean, Bram Stoker's Dracula, he's not British. Trying to give him a British accent was going to fail, guys. It's like letting uh Chris Evans do a British accent. He rarely does that. Why? Because he's not British. So you get what you pay for. 19 times. Yeah, it's from Texas. It's funny because Jake Busey doesn't sound like that. He was raised here. He was raised in the East, not the West, or in the South. Because it's like Randy Quaid, he's Southern, but Dennis Quaid is not. He doesn't talk like that, or Jack Quaid. It's weird to see a clean-shaven Keanu back in the '90s, but that's how I saw him first. Because I saw Speed when I was 9. I wasn't supposed to, but I don't know what that was. Yeah, that's stupid, but it's not. This movie's not as dumb as people say it is. It's like Baby Driver, except there's no Brits in it, which is a huge blessing because that movie, Lily James can't act at all. She's so horrible. The Dark Knight took from this scene, if anything. People call that a masterpiece, and that's PG-13. This is an R-rated, bank robbery scene with mass. Sometimes it's better to have a movie more for adults than for kids or teenagers. hmm I don't find this silly. It's scary. I don't steal. Pretty intense, man. Bill Clinton was our president. Well, oh, that's disgusting. I didn't need to see that. That I didn't need to see. Um, ugh. Please stop showing that. The mask didn't do that. Anyway, yeah, the president at this time was George Bush Senior. Bill Clinton became our president in 1992, but it's not a political movie for me. It's not. I was a kid when this came out. That's why I didn't see it until I was an adult. There's MTV doesn't exist anymore because I didn't see the remake. I heard this got remade. I'm like, how are you gonna do better than Catherine Bigelow? She's won an Oscar. She's one of the few directors that are female to win an Oscar or get a nomination for an Oscar. And she won, not for this movie. She won for The Hurt Locker, I think. Yeah, I think so. Because James Cameron won for Titanic, so a few years after this came out. But at least Titanic has some, legacy, and it has real people in the movie. It doesn't have a bunch of, CGI in it. It's just a boat that's mostly CG and the iceberg. But the people in the movie are real. No matter how I feel about them, they're real. Billy Zane, Kate Winslet, DiCaprio, Bill Paxton, everybody. That's when Cameron used to direct people. Now he directs cats. People in cat and mocap suits. It's snowing outside. It's been snowing for hours, but I'm still not gonna cancel this podcast. I want to do this. I know. Of course, I got ching all the time because last year there was just a fire. People were buying stuff at Costco like it was the end of the world. I'm like, guys, it's a snowstorm, not an earthquake. That would have been a lot worse. I can handle snow. I was born in a snowstorm for crying out loud. You do, Keanu. Yeah, Gary Busey is still alive. It's just he's nuts now. He had a motorcycle accident that ruined his brain, and he wasn't the same after that. He went nuts. That's why I don't ride a motorcycle because I want to keep my brain where it is. Surfers, like surf ninjas. Hmm. I don't want to see that. This was not in the remake. A butt shot. Yeah, because it's a PG-13 and it's more like a X Games movie than a remake to this classic. Plus, one of the actors is Hispanic and the other is an Australian. What were you thinking, Hollywood? Stop remaking classics and making them worse. Coronas. No, I don't touch the stuff. Mm-hmm. I don't surf. That kid happens to look like John Connor. Yeah, it's not him though. Cause it is hard. No one goes surfing in the winter. We're 15 minutes in, and look at all this happen. It's got a pretty fast pace for something long. This movie's longer than Terminator 1. But I think it's a good movie, though. There's Lori Petty. There's a brunette version of her, not a blonde. Surfing sequences are pretty cool. Jeans. Yes, Catherine Bigelow knows the beauty of women because she is a woman. That hasn't changed. Even though she's like in her 70s now, at least she doesn't make overly feminist movies like uh, Kathleen Kennedy that he's produced. That's a nice shot too. Hold on, let me do this. Tennis. Yeah, it's a long movie. She was Livewire in the Superman animated series. knows how to talk. That would have been an ad, but I don't want to sit through ads. Another surfing scene. There's a lot of that in this movie. Because he's undercover. We're 22 minutes in. This is the filler scenes, you know, for him surfing. But after that, there's some good action in the movie. If this was a Navi in Way of Water, the water is not real. CGI, mostly. This and Roadhouse never needed remakes. I miss him a lot. Him and Heath Ledger died too young. Yeah, he was a good-looking guy too, and he passed away so soon, man. He'll never be forgotten. Because Kurt Russell's still around, and Jeff Bridges, but not Patrick Swayze, man. When he died, I didn't know. It was like, what? Really? Man, cancer sucks. It's why I don't want to get it. Lie down, because it's a long movie. It's not 2.5 hours, but it's almost 2 hours. There's some filler in it. Like I said, a couple of scenes. It's not a full action scene, you know, every 5 minutes, but there's build up. Yeah, playing football on the beach. Yep, gotcha. Yeah, most of his friends are blonde. Yikes. He's not a lawyer, he's a cop. Fortunately, he didn't say that. Mm-hmm. Hmm. I get it. Normally, if this was made, well, this was remade, but if they made another remake of this, it would just be a black, a leading officer just screaming, because everything has to be color coded. Not back in 1991. Things are different back then. Now everything has to be color coded. Plus, Keanu's not white. He was born in Lebanon and he's part Hawaiian and Asian, so he's not like full white. People think he's white. I'm like, no, he's a part white. He's mostly Asian and Pacific Islander. I know. I checked. He looks Asian. That's why him voicing Shadow worked. They didn't get some white British guy to voice him like they did with Knuckles. You hear that? That's a snowplow trying to keep the streets of New York clean. But I'm not gonna get hit by no snowplow. I'm staying right here. When I'm done, I'll go shovel snow on the sidewalk, and that's it. Staying away from the streets. I wanna live. I'm going to Disney on Ice in a couple of days after the snowstorm is over. Sand. It's coarse, rough, and it gets everywhere. He took a hair. He cut that redhead's hair. He has red hair like Karen. I love hair, but I don't pull it. It's been years since I watched this, since the 2010s, because I bought it on Blu-ray and I saw it a long time ago, but they have it on streaming. Latigo Beach State Park. Punch right in the face. Man, surfers take this so seriously. And there's no CG in this movie at all. I've been saying that a lot on these podcasts because everything now has to be a cartoon. Even that terrible Silent Hill sequel that came out this year has bad CG in it. No, you're not, because he's a cop. Yeah, there's strength in numbers, but these guys, if it was 1-on-1, it would be a lot. It'd be a fair fight. 5-on-1 is a lot. No, he's getting beat up. Yep. Why are people always looking for trouble? Yep, you get what you deserve. Yeah, that's important. Juvie. Never been there. Because I didn't commit crimes as a kid. I didn't. I got into fights, but that was because I had to defend myself in school. That was a Domino's pizza box. Yeah, this movie was not very diverse back in 1991 because, again, it was a different time. I think she was in RoboCop too. Yeah, that's her, right? I miss her. She also passed away a few years ago. We're 40 minutes in already. This storm was a long time coming. Hey, sci-fi film fan. Good morning, John says. This is an action movie. I'll take this any day. So it was an action film that we got in the last 7 years. Well, since the pandemic started, because everything is too CG, it's too long, it's too talky. They got people that can't act as the leads sometimes. So it's a problem now. Back then, they got people that can act. Too soon. Soundtrack is pretty good. Kamikaze. Hold on. It's 43 minutes in. Yeah. We're almost halfway through the film. Hmm. I'm not to do that. No, sunlight is overrated. Surf's up. We No, flying is in an airplane. That's more liberating than this. Because at least I know I'm safe. In the water, you never know what could happen. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, again, he scowls a lot in the John Wick movies and Ballerina. Hmm. Touch. Kiss in the water. Who wants to sleep on the ocean? By the ocean. Still a better scene than the one in Eternals, which I felt nothing. Absolutely nothing. And unlike Watchmen, it didn't lead to anything. That's right. Kiss her head, kiss her face. That's what they deserve. Catherine Bigelow's not a doesn't hate men. Trust me, she doesn't. She usually makes some leads in her films. Near Dark, this, and The Hurt Locker. Yeah. The only time it didn't work was Detroit, but I'm not seeing that anytime soon. That flopped because even people were like, just that was before the pandemic, and Boyega didn't sell it. Sorry. I know Caitlin Deaver's in the movie, and I'll see it for her, but not for Boyega. A walkie-talkie because this is the '90s. Not everybody had a cell back in 1991. Only rich people did, like in Hook. Scooby. I love how Catherine Bigelow keeps her shots of the film. She knows how to hold the camera and make it every shot interesting. That's what I like about her over some directors today. I like Greta Gerwig's visual style as well in the Barbie movie, but she's more feminist than Catherine Bigelow. And yes, I know Olivia Wilde is also a feminist, but she's not. It's her writer that's the problem, not her. Because when I saw Booksmart, I'm like, yes, it's well shot, and she knows how to direct girls. But that writer hates men like with a passion. Every movie that she writes for Olivia Wilde, it's like men suck and they have to be in the background. Why? What's your problem? What man did something to you, huh? Yep, these guys are gonna get caught now. They got automatic weapons. Metallica. I remember they were big in the '90s. A lawnmower. Yeah, remember when action movies looked like films? They had real people doing real stunts and real camera work. Nothing with none of this digital crap that we have now, where everything looks like a Netflix movie. A lot of it. Because look at the action films that have come out the last couple of months. Nothing looks simple anymore. Everything has to look like a cutscene for a video game or an advertisement for a 4K TV. Yeah, yeah, you are. It's a nice ass shot. See, finally some action, and it takes a while. But like I said, the first 30 or 40 minutes are build up. You know, so when there is action, it means something. It's not just it doesn't come out of nowhere. Because the last R-rated action movie that looked like an action film was Ballerina. Because it didn't have a ton of CGI in it. I'm talking about a pure action movie, not a superhero movie that has action in it like Superman. That movie had heart. That's something a computer can never replace. No AI can replace human feelings and human emotions. That's something AI doesn't have because it's artificial. It's not real. It's not a real beating heart and a real brain and real emotions. This is a good film. I don't know how people say this is cheesy. I'm like, I don't see it, guys. It has a sense of humor, but the action is not cheesy. It's well done. Because Cat, you have a good director who knows how to shoot action. Catherine Bigelow, and you have a good writers that mostly know how to write. That was a good stunt, and it got real stunt work. And the movie's not 2.5 hours long. It gets to the point mostly faster than a lot of films today. That's why this works over a movie that came out last year or 2024, where they're over long and they don't know when to get to the damn point. You know what I'm talking about. Yep, you know where this is going. And they don't shy away from the violence. I'm gonna shred your face. No, Keanu's not going out like that. Those will hurt. Jeez, that's so close. That was close, man. Squid brain. Okay, that was kind of a cheesy line, but it's fun though. If you're gonna give the weird lines, give it to Gary Busey. At least he can act in this movie. I thought he was the villain here, and I know Patrick Swayze basically is the villain. Him and like those gangsters. And that guy's dead. You hear that? Yeah, people are shoveling already. I'm not afraid of this snow. Oh, Tom Sizemore, I miss you, man. I miss you so much. Yeah, he's in this movie. It's a cameo. I can't believe he died a few years ago. Maybe maybe if he didn't use coke, he would have still been around. We miss you, Tom Sizemore. Yeah, I miss him a lot. He was in Passenger 57, I think. Yeah. And ah, he's only one of two actors that passed away in this movie because with Swayze it was because he had cancer, but with Sizemore it was drug use ruined his life later in his life, man. That's also a good shot. Keanu in bed with Lori Petty from the top. Because I care what a movie looks like. If this was made this year, this would have had a studio interference, or the movie would have been 2.5 hours. Because films can't get to the point anymore. Even musicals are overly long right now, like Wicked. I'm like, that movie could have been 2 hours. It did not need the extra 40 minutes. And then the second one was like 2 hours and 7 minutes. There's some filler in that too. Not as much, but still. Sometimes it's okay to make your movie short and sweet. Under 2 hours. Too many films now think that a long, lengthy running time is deep, and it's not. It just makes movies boring. I already know Mario's not going to be 2.5 hours because it's a kids movie, and those are usually like 90 minutes or an hour and 40 at the most. Not 2.5 hours. Kids can't sit in the theater that long. Because the bank robbery is only in the beginning of the film. I think they do another one at the end. Again, it's been years since I watched this, so a lot of this feels new to me because I've only watched it once. Again, please stop doing that. I don't want to see that. The next movie I do has to be a little bit lighter. Yeah. I'm not going to do a podcast tomorrow because I got to shovel snow. They're ghosts. We're almost done. We got it. We're an hour in. We got another 50 something minutes left. Yeah. Hold on. We got an hour and 50. Yeah, 58 minutes. An hour and 15 minutes and a few seconds. So we're almost done. Summer hasn't even started yet. It's still winter. And it's been a big winter. This is the biggest day of the winter so far. A month after Christmas. And I've been noticing that it's been snowing hard on the weekends because last time it snowed like this was at the end of December and it was a Saturday. Now it's a Sunday and I'm like, yeah, and it's snowing. I knew it. I checked the weather reports. It said winter storm warning. It's still snowing right now, but I don't feel it. I feel the cold weather, but it was way colder yesterday. It was like 10 degrees. Who sells oranges along the road? Yeah, people used to read newspapers before they read the internet. There's nothing digital about this movie at all. Never had a meatball sub. I've had a pepperoni. $7.84 in 1991. Now that's like $20. I wish it was that cheap. $7 is cheap for a whole meal. Now you'd be lucky to get a burger and fries with $7. Because inflation it goes right to the roof, man. Yes, we get it. Yeah, he has the goofy dialogue, Gary Busey. There they are, robbing another bank. I do like this better than Baby Driver, though. I do. Because as much as I like Edgar Wright, some of his films, like Scott Pilgrim, I think is underrated. I like Baby Driver. I like the Cornetto trilogy. But recently, he's been striking out. I mean, look at the Running Man remake. I'm going to see it. And I will review it in February. But you're not going to hear that it's better than the original. Even though the original, I think it's decent. Not one of Arnold's best, but it's better than the remake. Because it knows what it is. That's why the new one flopped. Too over budget and too ambitious, and it's a remake that no one wanted. We like Glenn Powell. We do. He's a good actor, but he's not Arnold. It's a good car chasing. This reminds me of Speed, except Speed is a shorter movie. Because, once the bus crashes, it's like, yeah, the movie kind of slows down in the third act. But it's still a satisfying ending, unlike the second one. Damn. That collateral damage. And again, it feels real. They really did these stunts. There's no CGI fakery here. Like nowadays, they just use it too much. That's what I'm sick and tired of. James Cameron hasn't used practical effects since Titanic. And in an action movie, it's been since Eyes. Yeah. There's some digital effects in that, but it's mostly Arnold and Jamie Lee Curtis doing real action scenes. Not digital versions of them. Because in the 90s, that's all you had. This movie is brutal, man. These villains are not sympathetic characters. And they don't give them a stupid backstory like the Strangers prequels. Why on earth would you give the Strangers a backstory? It's like giving a backstory to, well, Michael Myers and Freddy had it, to Leatherface. We don't need it of origin. They're evil and that's how it is. You don't have to explain why. It just diminishes their essence. He's on fire. Pepsi, yeah, there's a lot of product placement in this scene, but it's not like Man of Steel where it's shoved in your face. U-Haul, Pepsi. Look at that shot. It's like the camera's following them. Again, excellent camera work here. 10 o'clock already. I gotta take a shower later, even though it's snowing out. Yikes. This is why people always go to see re-releases, because they're better than a lot of films that come out today. Yeah. I'll see Ninja Turtles 2 in the theater in March over Hoppers, because Hoppers just looks stupid. And it's got an actress I do not like as a lead. Yeah. You know who it is. Oh, no, no, not the pit bull. Go in. No, don't worry. No animals were harmed. That was a puppet. They did not kick a real dog. Run, Keanu, run. This is before Tom Cruise was in Mission Impossible, by the way. The first one. You know, when it was made. Slow-mo shot. No, not my leg. See? He's not a superhero here. Ronald Reagan's gonna get away. Those eyes. We know who it is. Swayze's the main villain in the movie. Yeah, I know you're mad. We're almost done with the movie. It's not too long. Because in February I'm doing movies that are short, so I could get them done. His poor leg. He's the main villain. Beep him. Yeah, because this is before people had DMs and social media and everything. Because I do buy Keanu as an action star, even back in the '90s, guys. You don't have to look like a supermodel to get a good actor that has Riz. That's something Liam Hemsworth never had, or Bayanga, or some other people that I've seen, or even like a woman like Rebel Wilson. She's not an action star, guys. Six more days and January is over, and I can't wait. Because February is only 28 days. It's always the shortest month of the winter. It doesn't feel long like December and January do. March is also long, but then the winter ends, and then we have to push the clock forward. We lose an hour, but it doesn't affect me. Yeah, they should have left. That's a good shot. It's a shadow of a gun. See, everything Captain Bigelow does, even movies that fail, at least she makes films. Mhm. Well, you're not a real brunette. And this movie's not nuts. Like Tank Girl is completely off its rocker. It's like if you did Kangaroo Jack and Mad Max and took a lot of acid and then you went into the desert and saw kangaroos. Yeah, that's how mental that movie is. Lori Petty was like a early Harley Quinn before Margot Robbie and Lady Gaga. That movie was just mental. I get why the I get why the movie has a cult following, because Lori Petty's performance and some of the goofy gags, but it's so weird. It's just it took me out of it. It felt like it was directed by an Australian. I think it was. I don't know. It's not Tyler. Because people made such a big deal about Barbie being the highest grossing movie directed by a woman, but Bigelow was making films before Greta Gerwig was even born. Just remember that. She's older, so she has more experience. Oh, a movie was directed by a woman. That doesn't automatically mean the movie's good. It doesn't. Because a lot of people hated Don't Worry, Darling. Yeah, because it's an anti-male movie. I love Olivia Wilde. I always will. I met her in real life. She's a peach, and she can direct, but her writer needs to be fired and canceled before she makes another anti-man male movie. And the acting is good in this movie. If there's someone that has the goofy lines that people are talking about, it's Gary Busey because he can deliver them though. Like what he said about when he was eating the sandwich. Yeah, that's a dumb line, but it's not the worst thing I've ever heard. Trust me. The guy was in one of the Sharknado movies for crying out loud. At least one or two of them. I think it was four. That's a wrestling move. Yeah, the main characters are men in this movie, but Lori Petty has a decent role in it. She's not a cameo. Tom Sizemore, that was a cameo because he was doing another film. It's like the beginning of the Power Rangers movie when they're jumping out of the plane. Whee! You free falling. Yeah, you can't fly, guys. We weren't meant for the air. We were meant to be on land. Not in the air and not in the ocean. It looks fun, but yeah, I want to be safe. I don't want to test fate. It is. It is beautiful. That shot, the skyward shots of the men skydiving. Whee! We're 80 minutes in, so we're almost done. I like roller coasters better because I feel more safe. It's like flying. Here it comes. We don't fly. This stunt was really well done. Yeah, this shot is really, really beautifully shot. And again, this isn't CG. We had 5 real men doing this stunt. It is. And the music is really awesome too. Again, suck it remake. You're not as free falling as this movie is. This movie's a baller, a banger. Yeah, I heard the remake was bad, Spidey, because it's just not this movie. It's trying to be another movie. They could have called it the X Games movie, and it would have been more honest than this. Don't try to fool people. I know the original. I've seen it before, just once before. This is the second time I've seen it. To jump out of a plane into water. That little screen. They kidnapped Lori Petty, Tyler. This looks like the scene in The Dark Knight. Again, two scenes from The Dark Knight were taken from this movie. The bank heist in the beginning and this scene. When he's gagging that guy and he's touching his face. Yeah, the Joker. And they say that Christopher Nolan's original. No, he's taking ideas from other people too. I don't hate him, but Inception was based on an anime that came out back in the 2000s called Paprika. Yeah, that going into people's dreams, that was in Paprika. And Nolan just took that idea and made it into Inception. I told you, he's not as original as you think. I know every idea has to come from another idea, but this is not the first bank robbery movie, but it did its own thing. It combined surfing and action and bank robberies. But yeah, and people calling The Dark Knight a masterpiece, I'm like, it's good, but it's not a masterpiece because some of the ideas were taken already, and Dark Knight Rises as well. And they're too long. They're way too long. Those Nolan movies are just too long. They feel long. Even Batman Begins, and that's the shortest, but it's still long. Why? She was? Cashews. My favorite. They're packing. It does sometimes. Yeah. It's not a job. It's a heist. And stealing is wrong, guys. Is this realistic? No. It's a movie, guys. because this movie came out in the '90s, and several movies have done things with the President masks, you know. And again, The Dark Knight, instead of using presidents, they use clown masks. Yeah, surveillance cameras. Yeah, rest in peace to Patrick Swayze. His performance can never be duplicated by another actor. Sorry. I don't steal. I earn my own money. It's tension filled. This movie. It's not played for laughs because this is not a comedy. Yeah, exactly. The Dark Knight took from this scene. I was like, wait, this seems familiar. Oh, yeah, Point Break. And even the scene with the, like I said, the kidnapping Lori Petty character. Instead, they just used a man, and he, but that thing is the Dark Knight should have had an R rating because PG-13 just kind of softens the blow because it's less violent. Excuse me. I don't know. It's just that when you see movies like The Dark Knight and this PG-13, it just feels sanitized because it's a violent world. Gotham is very violent, and they don't show it in Nolan's films. In Gotham, they did. It was a TV show on Fox, and they showed the violence. They showed the aggression. They didn't hold back. Even on TV, they didn't hold back. They showed the violence. Gotcha. There's a shootout, man. Of course, the security guard gets it. It's really, really intense, man. Yep. I don't see you being all spiritual now, Swayze, because again, when people are shooting at you, yeah, prepare to meet your maker. Now you will go to jail for murder. Keanu's fine. He's wearing Kevlar. Now, these guys are dead. They got shot in the chest. Again, see, they don't shy away from the violence. This is why Tarantino doesn't do PG-13 because he believes an adult story should be told for adults, not for kids. Yeah, Nolan did Oppenheimer, which is R, and I don't get it because it's not violent. It's mostly just for the sexual content and the themes. It's a good shot. Of course, you're gonna hit him in the face. You're the villain. You know, that was pretty predictable, but yeah. I like when Keanu says that. Yikes. A Sears catalog, yeah. I haven't seen that in years. Wow. Thank you. Yeah, John C. McGinley. Exactly. Yeah, John C. McGinley. You shouldn't be talking crap if you don't have the guts to back it up. Yeah, he arrested a federal agent even though he had no choice. If he didn't go along with the bank heist, Lori Petty would die. I gotta get some clothes to take a shower later, so I'll do it after I shovel snow. Use these blue socks because I need thermal socks for tomorrow. This is a good movie. I miss watching a movie like this. I'll do Terminator 2 some other time, probably in February or March, because it's over 2 hours long. So I'm trying to keep my movies shorter than that. Plane scene. Let's see how far we are. 97 minutes in. It's almost done. And I'm only doing this movie that's long because I got to kill time because I got to shovel after this. Yeah. Now we have AI and people can catch you in a heartbeat. Just walk away. Wow, this guy's a bad shot. Uh-oh. Yep, Gary Busey is toast. He dies in a lot of his films, I notice. That was a good no. No. It's almost 11 o'clock. I'm glad I started this movie early. Next week, I'm not going to do a film as long on February 1st. I'll probably do something a lot shorter because it's a new month. There's the Pepsi sign again. Plus, it's one of the few Patrick Swayze performances he's not the hero, he's a villain. Because in Roadhouse, he's an anti hero. And Dirty Dancing, he's the main actor, he's the main guy. And then in Tu Wong Fu and all that, he's not a villain in that either. A plane scene, and it's not as boring as the one in Mission Impossible 8. Because we have to wait 2 hours to see that. This an hour and 40 minutes. It's half the time. It's about half that time. It's pretty intense. And that's the thing about this movie, like you can't capture this again. He won't do it. Acid in your mouth, yeah, that's not the best line either. I don't know what that means. I never had acid in my mouth. Again, this is not realistic. Yes, somebody really did this stunt, but Keanu would never jump like that. Plus, that's not how gravity works. What goes up must come down. If you ever jump out of a plane without a parachute, you'll die, unless you're jumping from a really small area. They don't know how gravity works. They at least have parachutes. He doesn't. It's impossible. That's not how gravity works. Gotcha. I guess Hollywood doesn't make action movies like this anymore because they're making a lot of action films look too digital. Automatically, they look like spectacles. Yeah, but you can have a good spectacle. Superman did that really well last year. But with movies now, like Ballerina, they flop because people don't want to see, you know, a substitute, and they also don't want to see movies that were done a long time ago remade because you're not going to do it better. Running Man flopped. Yeah, it did. Or even Tron Ares, which is like a bad remake of Tron Legacy, except done without any of the passion. It may have the visuals, it doesn't have the heart that that movie had, or the good direction. Because who directed that? Joseph Kosinski, who did Top Gun Maverick, which was see, that's how you take an action movie and make it look real. It doesn't feel digital at all. Even in the flying sequences, it feels like real planes, real pilots, real action. It's not all this digital fakery that James Cameron does with every movie he does now. It's just a bunch of CGI cats doing CGI things. Whoopee. I don't see the spectacle there. It worked the first time in the first movie, but after that, the sequels are just the same movie just with different elements. Whoopee. Movies need to look like films again and stop making them so damn digital. You don't have to use digital effects for everything. For people, yet let repeat real people do it. In Asia, they have real people doing real fight scenes. They don't have all this trickery, you know? A nightgown. That's the problem. Like back in the 90s when they were using CG, they used a mix of practical and CG, like Terminator 2 and Jurassic Park and Jumanji and Lost World and Men in Black. Now everything looks digital. I'm like, it looks fake to me. It's not as personal. Because Superman, the first shot is snow and him bleeding in it. That's something I didn't see in the Christopher Reeve movies. Also, it was real snow and it was really him lying down. There wasn't this CGI trickery until Crypto shows up, and even Crypto felt like a real dog. It didn't feel like some. Sorry, Patrick Swayze, but that's not possible. Keanu's not dead yet. And also, movies are too long now. Like F1 tried to do the Top Gun Maverick thing, but it didn't make a billion because it was too long. It was 2.5 hours. Why? Because you had to have three Brits in the movie that make the movie longer. You're stupid, writers, for doing that. You don't have to put 85 characters in a movie to make it interesting. Now we're in the end of the film, an hour and 50 some minutes in. Esquiano with longer hair, yeah, because he was doing Bill and Ted Bogus Journey around that time. At 11, can you start shoveling? Yes, I'm going to start shoveling. I get that out of the way. I'm going to start after this movie's over because it's almost done. I thought that was the depot because I'm supposed to get a phone call later from them. They're going to tell me to come in tomorrow morning to shovel snow. Look at those waves. Let me just unplug this because the movie's almost over anyway, and I'm almost done. So it's got to cool off because this phone overheats when I use it for over 2 hours. Yep. He also cut his hair because he was doing another film at that time. Swayze. That's Look at those waves. Those are real waves, by the way. Again, I miss movies like this because Catherine Bigelow never did the full digital route like James Cameron. I don't know what happened to him. It's like after Titanic, he won the Oscar and it's like, you know what? I'm never gonna make a film again. I'm gonna make digital art instead of. And this dynamic, you could never recapture this in a remake. That's why the remake was pointless. Because Edgar Ramirez and that Australian dude, they have no chemistry. They're not Johnny Utah and Bodie. They're just not. Sorry. A final battle with only like less than 5 minutes to go. You know, you don't have to be best friends with the villain. They did this in Spider-Man 2 also, where Doc Ock and Peter like each other and as friends, and then later in the film they're fighting each other over and over again. This is a personal fight though. It's like Anakin Skywalker and Obi-Wan in episode 3. That's what worked in that fight. That's why it was, yeah, it's choreographed, but it's personal. I like fights that are personal, guys. Not fights that just come out of nowhere. Tom Cruise with that it with the with Gabriel, that is not a personal fight. It's not like Gabriel was the villain since the first movie. He wasn't. He was just some guy that they pulled out of their hat to freaking put him in there. Yes. Now he's going to be put in jail for the rest of his life. Yes. It's like the ending of Blade Runner. Except in that movie, I think Rutger Hauer dies. I haven't seen it in a while, so I'll eventually do a podcast for that, the original Blade Runner. Just not right now. I wouldn't do that anyway. It's a little bit stretched out, but that's only because the first half of the film is surfing and, the build up. Why is there so much Spanish in this movie? These are two actors that are not Hispanic at all. And it's not a Western, so they don't usually say that. We know he's going to die because who's going to survive that? See, look, he fell. He falls, yep. Yep. You can't beat water. Water always wins. And he's dead. Off screen, but yeah. And that's the end of Point Break, the original Point Break, not the remake. And that was the movie, yeah. That was the original Point Break, man. Still holds up really well. The ending is kind of, predictable, but like I said, it still works and it's under 2 hours. So if you haven't seen the movie in a while or never seen it, see it at least once. So that's my podcast on the original Point Break, and I'll see you guys in a few days, hopefully, to do another podcast. So see you then. Yeah.